The observation deck of the United Earth starship Dauntless offered the most spectacular view in the vessel, but Captain Marcus Hale rarely found time to enjoy it. Today, however, he stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the endless sea of stars. The Dauntless had been his home for 7 years now, a retrofitted Vanguard-class warship that had seen better days, but still packed enough firepower to make any sensible adversary think twice. Beautiful, isn't it? Lieutenant Sarah Ramirez appeared beside him, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars. "It is," Marcus replied, his weathered face softening momentarily. "Hard to believe it's been 15 years since first contact. 15 years since humanity discovered they weren't alone. 15 years since they'd been reluctantly welcomed into the Galactic Council as its newest and most primitive member species. The delegation arrives in 10 minutes, Captain," Ramirez said, breaking the spell of the moment. "Commander Harris suggested you might want to review the diplomatic protocols again." Marcus grunted. "I've had enough protocol to last me a lifetime, Lieutenant. The Eleutheri can take their protocols and shove them out an airlock." Ramirez smiled, but said nothing. As the ship's technical officer, she understood Marcus's frustration. The Eleutheri, the dominant species in the Council and self-proclaimed guardians of galactic civilization, had made no secret of their disdain for humanity's primitive technology. Their sleek, semi-organic vessels could outmaneuver any human ship. Their energy weapons could slice through hull armor like butter, and their neural interfaces made manual controls seem laughably obsolete. And yet, here was the Dauntless, a human warship with actual buttons, physical railguns, and chemical rockets. Technologies the Eleutheri considered barely more advanced than throwing rocks. "Captain, to the bridge." Commander Harris's voice came through the intercom, and Marcus sighed. "Showtime," he muttered, straightening his uniform. "Let's go remind the oldest species in the galaxy why they should fear the youngest." The bridge of the Dauntless hummed with activity as screens displayed the approaching Eleutheri vessel. Unlike the angular industrial design of human ships, the alien craft resembled a massive, translucent jellyfish, pulsing with bioluminescent light as it glided through space. "Open a channel," Marcus ordered, settling into his command chair. The main view screen flickered, revealing the face of an Eleutheri diplomat. The aliens had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, iridescent skin that shifted colors with their moods, and no discernible mouth. They communicated through a combination of telepathy among themselves and translation devices when dealing with lesser species. "Greetings, Captain Hale." The Eleutheri's words appeared as text alongside its image. "I am Ambassador Zithril. The Council appreciates your assistance in this diplomatic matter." Marcus nodded stiffly. "The United Earth Coalition is always happy to assist our allies, Ambassador." The Eleutheri's skin rippled with amusement. "Allies? Yes. A quaint human concept." Its upper eyes narrowed. "You've been briefed on your mission parameters?" "We have. The Dauntless will escort your civilian transport through the disputed Cygnus sector, ensure its safe passage, and return to Council space." Marcus recited the mission without enthusiasm. "Excellent. Though I must admit, sending such a—" The alien paused, searching for a word. "Rudimentary vessel seems an unusual choice. The disputed region is known to harbor pirates with considerably more advanced technology." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "The Dauntless has never failed a mission, Ambassador. We may lack your enlightened technology, but we compensate in other ways." "Of course you do." The Eleutheri's skin flickered with what Marcus had learned to recognize as condescension. "The transport will rendezvous with you in 6 hours. Zithril out." The screen went dark, and Marcus exhaled slowly. "I never thought I'd miss the days when we just shot at each other," he muttered. Lieutenant Commander Levi Harris, his executive officer, approached with a datapad. 6 hours gives us time to run battle drills, sir." Marcus nodded. "Do it. I want all weapons systems checked and rechecked. Something doesn't feel right about this mission." "The official brief says it's just a civilian transport carrying cultural artifacts," Harris said, lowering his voice. "And when has the Galactic Council ever needed human protection for their precious artifacts. Marcus countered, "No, they're using us as bait. The question is, for what?" The answer came 3 days later, as the Dauntless escorted the Eleutheri transport through the outer reaches of the Cygnus sector. Marcus had just finished his meal in his quarters when the alarm blared. "Captain to the bridge. Emergency Protocol Alpha." Marcus was moving. Before the announcement finished, sprinting through corridors and arriving on the bridge breathless. "Report," he demanded. Harris turned from his station. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Earth supply vessel Concordia. Last known position was approximately 2 light years from our current location." "Show me," Marcus ordered. A tactical display appeared, showing the Concordia's last reported coordinates. "Any distress signals?" "None, sir," Ramirez replied from her station. "But we did detect an energy surge consistent with Eleutheri weapons fire in that region approximately 20 minutes ago." Marcus's blood ran cold. "Give me the ambassador." Now, the Eleutheri ambassador appeared on screen, its skin a calm blue that Marcus had learned to distrust. "Captain Hale, what is the meaning of this interruption?" "An Earth vessel has gone missing in this sector, Ambassador, and we've detected Eleutheri weapons signatures in the vicinity. The alien's color didn't change. That is unfortunate. Perhaps your vessel encountered pirates or natural phenomena. Our sensors detect nothing unusual." "Our sensors," Marcus emphasized, "detected Eleutheri energy weapons." The alien's color shifted slightly. "That is not possible. There are no other Eleutheri vessels in this region except for our transport." "Then explain the weapon's signature." The ambassador's skin rippled. "Perhaps your primitive sensors are malfunctioning. Or perhaps you detected our transport's defensive systems during a routine calibration." "Calibration?" Marcus repeated incredulously. "Yes. Sometimes our automated systems run tests without conscious command. A regrettable oversight if it has caused confusion." Marcus leaned forward. "An Earth vessel is missing, Ambassador. We're changing course to investigate." "That would be abandoning your mission, Captain," the Eleutheri replied, its color darkening. "The Council would view such an action unfavorably." "I'll take my chances," Marcus replied coldly. "Dauntless out." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "Set course for the Concordia's last position. Maximum speed." "Sir," Harris interjected, "if we abandon the transport, it could create a diplomatic incident." "If the Eleutheri attacked an Earth vessel, we're already past diplomacy," Marcus replied grimly. "But we're not abandoning the transport. We're investigating a potentially distressed vessel, as per Galactic Maritime Law, Section 7. Harris nodded, understanding the captain's strategy. They could justify the detour legally, while still keeping an eye on their Eleutheri charge. "What do you think really happened?" Ramirez asked quietly as she adjusted their course. Marcus's expression darkened. "I think the Eleutheri are testing us. They've been dismissive of our capabilities since first contact. What better way to prove their superiority than to demonstrate how easily they can eliminate our ships?" "But why now?" Marcus gazed at the tactical display. "Because something's changed. The balance of power in the Council is shifting. 3 new species have joined in the last year alone, and not all of them share the Eleutheri's disdain for physical technology." "You think they're scared of us?" Harris asked, sounding skeptical. "Not scared," Marcus corrected. "Concerned. Humans adapt faster than any species they've encountered. We've incorporated elements of their technology into our own in just 15 years. Imagine what we could do in 50. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. "Lieutenant Ramirez," Marcus said suddenly, "I want you to modify our sensors. Incorporate old-fashioned radar and LiDAR alongside the quantum arrays. If the Eleutheri are out there, I want to find them before they find us." For hours later, they reached the Concordia's last known coordinates. The supply ship was gone, but the debris field told the story. "Analysis," Marcus demanded as the Dauntless moved slowly through the scattered remnants. "Consistent with a focused energy weapon attack," Ramirez reported grimly. "The pattern suggests multiple precise strikes rather than a catastrophic explosion. Survivors? No life pods detected, sir." The attack appears to have been methodical. Marcus's fists clenched at his sides. Keep scanning. And maintain silent running. I want passive sensors only. Captain, Harris spoke up. Command needs to be informed. Agreed, but not yet, Marcus replied. Any transmission could give away our position, and I want to know exactly what we're dealing with first. Sir, Ramirez called out, I'm detecting unusual energy readings at the edge of the debris field. It's fluctuating. On screen, Marcus ordered. The view screen showed only empty space. There's nothing there, Harris observed. Overlay the radar return, Marcus instructed. The screen changed, and now a ghostly outline appeared. A massive vessel with a distinctive jellyfish-like shape of elethary design, but unlike any they'd seen before. Its surface absorbed light rather than emitted it. A stealth ship, Marcus whispered. They're watching us. Why can we see it with radar, but not optically? Harris asked. Because the elethary don't use radar, Ramirez explained, excitement creeping into her voice. They evolved with natural bioelectric senses. Their technology focuses on manipulating energy and light. They wouldn't think to defend against something as primitive as radio waves bouncing off a physical object. A slow smile spread across Marcus's face. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. He turned to his executive officer. Commander Harris, set a course back to the transport. Make it obvious. I want them to think we're giving up. And then we're going hunting. Back aboard the elethary transport, Ambassador Zithril received the communication from the Dauntless with satisfaction. The humans are returning, it informed the ship's commander. They found nothing of value at the debris field. The commander's skin shifted to a dark purple of disappointment. They departed more quickly than anticipated. The test subject was supposed to linger, allowing us to gather more behavioral data. They're simple creatures, Zithril replied dismissively. Once they realized they could not comprehend what happened, they retreated to their assigned task. Predictable. Perhaps, the commander acknowledged. Still, I would have expected more curiosity from species so renowned for their inquisitiveness. You give them too much credit, Zithril's skin rippled with amusement. They are clever animals, nothing more. Their projectile weapons, their chemical propellants, it's all just throwing rocks, merely with greater precision than their ancestors. The Council is divided on the human question, the commander noted. Some believe they show unusual potential. Those council members lack historical perspective. Zithril dismissed the concern. We have seen dozens of species like them rise and fall over the millennia. They reach a certain technological plateau and stagnate. The humans will be no different. In the darkness of space, several thousand kilometers away, the Dauntless drifted with minimal power. On the bridge, Marcus watched the sensor readings with predatory focus. Status? He asked quietly. We're maintaining position, Harris reported. All non-essential systems powered down. We're running on backup generators only. What about our stealth systems? Ramirez looked up from her console. Our atomic diffusion field is operational, but it's old technology, sir. It won't hide us from advanced sensors for long. It doesn't need to, Marcus replied. It just needs to mask our approach until we're in range. In range for what exactly? Harris asked, his expression concerned. Marcus met his Exos gaze steadily. For us to fire first. A murmur went through the bridge crew. Sir, Harris said carefully, that would be an unprovoked attack on an Allied vessel. Would it? Marcus challenged. They destroyed the Concordia. We all know it, even if we can't prove it to the Council's satisfaction. But direct action could start a war, Harris insisted. The war has already started, Marcus replied quietly. The Elethari just haven't bothered to tell us yet. He addressed the entire bridge. I'm not asking any of you to follow me into this. If anyone objects, speak now, and we'll return to Council space. The bridge remained silent. Very well, Marcus nodded. Lieutenant Ramirez, prepare the railguns. Load the special ammunition. The graphene-coated, depleted uranium penetrators? She asked, unable to hide her surprise. Exactly. If the Elethari are as dependent on energy detection as we think, Physical projectiles might bypass their defenses entirely. And if they don't, Harris asked. Marcus's expression hardened. Then we'll have made our point before we die. Either way, humanity won't be dismissed as rock throwers anymore. The plan was audacious in its simplicity. The Dauntless would approach the cloaked Eleutheri vessel using minimum power, relying on momentum and periodic bursts from maneuvering thrusters that produced minimal heat signatures. They would use radar and LiDAR exclusively for targeting, avoiding the quantum sensors that the Eleutheri could detect. We're approaching optimal firing range, Ramirez reported, her voice tight with tension. Any sign they've detected us? Marcus asked. Negative, came the reply. Their energy emissions remain constant. They appear to be in observation mode. Marcus took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth, a gamble with the lives of his crew and potentially the future of human-alien relations. Target their propulsion nodes, he ordered. Fire when ready. Inside the cloaked Eleutheri vessel, the commander was reviewing the data from the Concordia's destruction when a junior officer approached. Commander, we're detecting an anomalous reading. It appears to be reflected radio waves. The commander's skin flickered with mild interest. Source? Unknown. It's an ancient form of detection technology. The humans called it radar. Irrelevant. The commander dismissed. No advanced species uses such crude methods. Likely background radiation from a nearby stellar body. Should we raise our energy shields as a precaution? The commander's skin pulsed with derision. Waste power on defenses against primitive projectiles? What could they possibly? The ship shuddered violently as something physical, something impossibly fast and dense, tore through its outer hull. Alarms blared as atmosphere vented into space. We're under attack, the officer cried, skin flashing crimson with shock. Impossible, the commander insisted, even as another impact rocked the vessel. Activate shields. Return fire. We can't locate the attacker, another officer reported frantically. They're not emitting any energy signature we can detect. On the Dauntless, Marcus watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as the first volley of railgun rounds found their mark. Direct hits, Ramirez confirmed. Their hull integrity is compromised in multiple sections. They're powering up their weapons, Harris warned. Change vector, random pattern, Marcus ordered calmly. Fire second volley. Target their weapon emplacements. The Dauntless lurched as its thrusters fired in an unpredictable sequence, breaking any tracking algorithm the Eleutheri might deploy. The second volley of hypervelocity projectiles streaked toward the now visible alien vessel, whose elegant form was already marred by ragged holes. They're firing, Harris shouted. A brilliant beam of energy lanced through space where the Dauntless had been moments before. Predictive targeting, Marcus noted. They still can't see us directly. The Eleutheri ship fired again and again, each shot missing as the human vessel continued its erratic course while maintaining a relentless barrage from its railguns. Sir, they're attempting to communicate, Harris reported. Ignore it, Marcus replied coldly. They had their chance for diplomacy when they destroyed the Concordia. The exchange continued for several minutes, the Dauntless darting unpredictably through space while its primitive projectile weapons systematically dismantled the technologically superior vessel. The Eleutheri, for all their advanced energy weapons, couldn't target what their sensors couldn't properly detect. Their main power core is destabilizing, Ramirez reported, a note of awe in her voice. Sir, we've actually done it. Prepare the final package, Marcus ordered. Target their command center. Harris looked up sharply. Sir, they're crippled. We've made our point. Not yet, Marcus replied, his voice like steel. Not until they understand exactly who they're dealing with. The final package was a modified nuclear missile, technology so old and unsophisticated by Galactic Council standards that it was considered a relic, yet devastating in its simplicity. Missile armed and ready, Ramirez reported. Fire, Marcus commanded. The missile streaked toward the crippled Eleutheri vessel, its nuclear warhead detonating in a silent, blinding flash that momentarily outshone the distant stars. When the light faded, the once majestic alien ship was reduced to an expanding cloud of debris. "Open a channel to the transport," Marcus ordered, his voice steady. Ambassador Zithral's face appeared on screen, its skin pale with shock. "Captain Hale," the Eleutheri managed, "what have you done?" "Justice," Marcus replied simply. "For the Concordia? You cannot possibly understand the consequences of your actions," the ambassador stammered. The Council will learn what happens when you underestimate humans," Marcus interrupted. "When you dismiss our technology as primitive, our methods as crude, our resolve as weak." He leaned forward. "Humans don't throw rocks, Ambassador. We aim them." The ambassador's skin darkened to a deep, ominous purple. "This is an act of war." "No, Marcus Corrective. This was self-defense. The war began when you destroyed our supply ship. We simply responded in kind. You have no proof we were involved." "I don't need proof. I have radar." Marcus's smile was cold. "Tell your council that if they want peace with humanity, they'll acknowledge what happened here and agree to new terms. Otherwise, they'll discover just how effective our primitive weapons can be." The transmission ended, and Marcus turned to his crew. The bridge was silent, everyone processing the enormity of what had just occurred. "Set course for Earth," he ordered quietly. "Maximum speed." "They'll come after us," Harris pointed out. "Of course they will," Marcus agreed. "But they'll be looking for energy signatures, quantum fluctuations, and all the other hallmarks of advanced technology. Meanwhile, we'll be running silent, using chemical thrusters and navigating by the stars." He gazed at the view screen, where the debris of the Eleutheri warship still glittered. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. As the Dauntless accelerated away from the scene, Marcus returned to his quarters. He recorded a full account of the incident, including his decision-making process and the evidence they'd gathered. When he finished, he sat in silence, contemplating the consequences of his actions. There would be hearings, possibly a court-martial. The Eleutheri would demand his head on a platter. The council would threaten sanctions, perhaps even expulsion. But none of that mattered now. What mattered was that for the first time since joining the galactic community, humanity had proven they weren't just primitive newcomers to be patronized and manipulated. They were a force to be reckoned with, adaptable, resourceful, and dangerous when provoked. His console chimed with an incoming message from Earth Command. It seemed news traveled fast, even across interstellar distances. Marcus straightened his uniform and accepted the call, ready to face whatever came next. Admiral Zhao's stern face appeared on screen. "Captain Hale, we've received a disturbing report from the Eleutheri Council representative. They're claiming you attacked and destroyed one of their vessels without provocation." "Not without provocation, sir," Marcus replied calmly. "They destroyed the Concordia. We have evidence." The Admiral's expression remained impassive. "I've reviewed your sensor logs. Radar and LiDAR, Captain. Technology that hasn't been our primary detection method for over a century." "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, Admiral." A ghost of a smile touched Zhao's lips. "So it seems. The Council is in an uproar. The Eleutheri are demanding sanctions against Earth. But interestingly, 3 other member species have requested private channels to discuss potential military alliances." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Sir, it appears not everyone was comfortable with Eleutheri dominance," Zhao explained. "Your demonstration has changed the equation. The Eleutheri's technological superiority doesn't seem quite so overwhelming anymore. What happens now?" "Now," Zhao sighed heavily. "Now you return to Earth for debriefing and to face a formal inquiry. Publicly, we'll express regret over the incident while investigating the loss of the Concordia. Privately," he paused. "Privately, Captain, I believe you'll find more commendations than condemnations awaiting you. And the crew will be recognized for following their captain's orders in a complex situation." Zhao's expression softened slightly. "You've opened Pandora's box, Marcus. The Council won't be the same after this." "Good," Marcus replied firmly. It needed changing. After the Admiral's image faded, Marcus gazed out his viewport at the endless stars. Humanity had spent 15 years trying to catch up to the galactic community, adopting their technologies, following their rules, accepting their condescension. Perhaps it was time for the community to learn from humanity instead. On the bridge, Lieutenant Ramirez approached Commander Harris as they monitored the dauntless, stealthy withdrawal from the sector. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked quietly. Harris considered the question carefully before answering. "I think we did the necessary thing. The Eleutheri saw us as primitives to be humored or eliminated at their convenience. Now they'll see us as equals to be respected or enemies to be feared. And which would you prefer?" Harris watched the stars streaking past on the view screen. "Neither. I prefer to be seen as humans, adaptable, resourceful, capable of both great compassion and terrible vengeance. Not primitive, not advanced, just human." Ramirez nodded thoughtfully. "The captain said something earlier. Humans don't throw rocks, we aim them. Do you think that's true? Are we really just sophisticated rock throwers?" Harris smiled slightly. "If we are, then let's hope the galaxy remembers what happened to Goliath." As the Dauntless continued its journey back to Earth, Marcus Hale stood on the observation deck once more, gazing at the stars that now seemed both more wondrous and more threatening than before. He had no illusions about what awaited him. Hearings, investigations, possibly even charges. But he had done what was necessary to protect his crew, his ship, and ultimately his species. Let the Eleutheri laugh at human weapons. Let the Council debate human barbarism. Let the diplomats wring their hands over protocol and procedure. None of that changed the fundamental truth that the Eleutheri and the Council needed to understand. Humans weren't defined by their technology, but by their ingenuity, their adaptability, and their unwavering determination to survive. They had fired first this time, and if necessary, they would fire. Again, this was only the beginning.